Hello, would you please introduce yourself to us?
Hi, I'm Miss Lisa, and right now I'm at Ladies Wicked Playground, which is in the Lehigh Valley. It's a house that is totally dedicated to play. We have three rooms upstairs, a common room downstairs, and then the whole basement is set up for play. And I also, or we have a place on South Street in Philadelphia that has a domestic area downstairs, and then a BDSM room upstairs. I've been doing this for over a decade, and I have loved every minute of it. I would have to say probably when I don't enjoy it is when the person that's across my lap or the person that I have tied up on the cross can't get comfortable and can't relax and they can't enjoy it, because I can't enjoy my time if you're not enjoying yourself. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are going to be moments when you're not enjoying it, but when you're not enjoying the overall experience.
Do you have a favorite scenario that you like to play?
For domestic, I love mommy son. I don't know what it is. I am a mother. My son is grown and gone. I never fantasized about, spanking him or anything like that. There's just something, I guess that's just about as domestic as you can get, mother son. And it actually helps that I have that experience as a mom. So when you come to me and say, I want to do role play, I want mommy son, and it's because I didn't keep my room clean, or I didn't get my homework done, or I kept acting up in school, I can actually, because all boys pretty much are the same when they're growing up. They seem to get in trouble for the same stuff. So I can actually reflect back on those moments that I had. And when I scold you, which I'm known for my scolding, I can really get in your head because I'm flashing back to that moment. So it's almost like it's real for me because I have a very good imagination. I have a very vivid imagination. So, mommy, son, I like taboo. I really do. I like pushing the envelope. If it's something that society frowns upon, I'm all in. And I don't know why. I just am.
If you had to pick your top 3 favorite implements, what would they be?
Hand. I love giving a nice, firm hand spanking. I love to use the hairbrush, but it's depending on the hairbrush. If it's a hairbrush, like this one, see how the handle isn't wrapped? If I'm giving a nice long hairbrush session, the hand starts to sweat and I can start to lose my grip. So I love to use the hairbrush, but it just doesn't really seem to work out sometimes because it slips. I like to use the bath brush, especially, and I don't have to give you a really hard spanking, but when somebody comes to me that wants me just to blister their butt with the bath brush, I love that. Just the good old-fashioned wooden bath brush. And the belt. I love to use the belt. I could swing the belt for hours and not get tired. And one of the wonderful things about the belt is it can be playful. You can go light with the belt and bring someone to orgasm. Or, you can go harder with the belt. You can build it up to the point where you cannot hit them hard enough because you've warmed them up good. You've built it up, the different levels to where they're the point where you cannot hit them hard enough with that belt. It's great. It's a huge stress reliever for me and for the person on the receiving end.
Outside of spanking, what would be other domestic style disciplines that you are experienced with administering?
Figging. Figging is a good one. especially if the person will not sit still. And someone might say to me, oh, well, just tie me down. I'll hold still for that. Well, how many mommies tie their sons down to give them a spanking? If you want the real domestic thing, and don't get me wrong, I do like tying someone down. I like putting the cuffs on them, putting them over a bench, restraining them. For me, that's more of a corporal punishment thing, which, like I said, I love. But for domestic, I love figging. Mouth soaping. I like to give a good mouth soaping, especially if it's for dropping the F-bomb, because I do not like that word. Let's see. A slap on the face to get your attention. And some people, you give them one slap on the face, and it just puts them right in that headspace. It sends them to another world. Caning the hands. I had someone one time that wanted me to cane their hands, cane their palms, because I discovered them masturbating. That was a lot of fun. So I'd say those are a good start.
Would someone come to you for real discipline?
Yes. I've had quite a few come to me for real discipline. And I really like that, because pretty much anybody that I've talked to, they've heard me say, one of the things that I love about this job is it actually does help the other person. They can be perfectly happy with their job, with their marriage, with their family, but there's this one little thing that they're missing. And I feel very lucky to be the person that fulfills that for them. And then they leave here and they're happy, they're feeling better than not better than when they got here, but there's this sense of relief. Like this weight has been lifted. Like the fog, in their head, has been lifted. And I have people that have come to me because they've cheated on their wife, or because they've spent too much time online, looking at porn, or even some people, they feel like they spend too much time on Facebook, so they come to me for punishment for that. Or, I had a guy who came to me, he actually had embezzled money from his job. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was still embezzlement. It was $400. So we worked out a plan where he would come to me once a week or once every 2 weeks and we would do so many strikes with the cane until he received 400 strikes with the cane. Each strike representing $1. So yeah, I've had some people come to me for real discipline.
In your career, you've had lots of experiences. Is there one scene, one experience that really stands out to you beyond the others?
There's so many. So many good ones. There is. When I was sessioning in my house outside of Philadelphia, there was a gentleman that would come to me. He'd only been to see me a few times, and he needed to be spanked until he was crying, which isn't easy with everybody, especially men, because most men are taught from the time that they're born that boys don't cry. So of course, over the years, you build up this wall to teach yourself not to cry. So, like I said, he'd been to me a few times, and each time he came really close to crying. but we never quite got there. Because he would always, and I respect safe words, he would always call red. So I would have to stop because he felt like he just couldn't take it anymore. So I finally said to him when he came to see me one time, I said, here's what we're going to do. I said, we're going to do, consensual non-consent. I said, I want to take you to that point to where you can allow yourself to cry. I said, but you're going to have to trust me. No one's ever been killed by getting spanked. I said, you might open up a little bit. There might be a little bit of blood, but it's okay. We'll fix it. And he agreed to it. So I did no warm up or anything like that, because to get him to the point where he's going to cry, you can't do a warm up first. And I kept going, and he finally just broke down. He started crying during the spanking. I think it was the bath brush I was using. I did belt and bath brush, and he started crying. And once he started sobbing, I stopped. And I was on this big, it was the best chair, this big round chair that would swivel, one of those big overstuffed chairs. And I just pulled him up into my arms and held him as he cried. That's probably the one that stands out the most to me.